Those 4 players were brought in to take some of the focus off of Nick Marsh, and even with the success he had last season, the Detroit native still remains humble, and he shared with me recently where it all comes from. Before wowing the crowd at Spartan Stadium with his catches,
throws to the corner of the end zone. Touchdown! Who else? Nick Marsh.
Nick Marsh found his love for football while growing up in Detroit.
Nick was about 6 when I first got him started, and immediately when I took him to the field, he was already bigger than all the other 6-year-olds. But they say when they threw a ball to him, he was about 7 and he caught it with one hand, and they were like, let's keep this going.
Nick's talents quickly got noticed, and he received a college football offer when he was in the 8th grade. Marsh then started to get a little more attention during his freshman season at River Rouge High School when he helped the Panthers reach the state championship game.
Right when I went to River Rouge, I played football just to play football, and I never seen it as an opportunity to change my family life at first, and then I started realizing the attention I got from it, and I realized it was going to be a big impact on my life and my family's life. So I started to take the game serious and use that as my motivation to continue to push and grow in football, and it became a game that I love, and I'm able to help my family now.
Growing up in Detroit, life wasn't always easy for Marsh. His mother, Yolanda Wilson, was a young single mother raising 4 kids, and there was plenty of adversity the 5 of them went through together.
Being homeless, not having hot water sometimes, not having water sometimes, having to go to neighbor houses and, use their water. And, just growing up, that was pretty tough. So, it's traumatizing as a kid, and you never want to go back to that.
I think before we moved to River Rouge, Nick was probably in 7th grade. And the neighborhood was so bad, so much was going on. I worked a lot during those times when he was in middle school.
As a result, football became a safe place for Nick. His mother made sure he and his siblings did something like playing a sport to avoid going down the wrong path in life.
It was more of an escape. He didn't have to deal with the gangs or anything in the neighborhood. He knew he was safe. He knew he was going to be okay. If you let your children fall by the wayside, they're going to fall by the wayside. So I was already determined then, like, nope. It'll be days where Nick was like, oh, Mom, I don't think I want to do this, or I'm too tired. And I'm like, well, you got to do it.
It's a lot of adversity with coming up, growing in Detroit, and, I feel like, that shaped me into who I am. Just being able to see a lot of things at a young age, grow up a little bit faster, just mature a little bit quickly. And I think it's, grown into something beautiful here.
The mature and humble young man Marsh grew into led to him being a 4-star recruit by his senior year at River Rouge. His recruitment was intense, with offers from Michigan State, Penn State, Oregon, and Michigan. Marsh committed to Michigan State in July of 2023, and less than 3 months later, the Spartans were in search of a new head coach. Jonathan Smith got hired in November of 2023, and his first recruiting priority was Marsh.
Jonathan Smith got on a plane and came directly to Nick's high school at River Rouge. That was his very first stop. That alone to me was like, oh, I'm serious about, still recruiting this guy, still wanting him. He was a very big priority.
Marsh ultimately signed with the Spartans and quickly made a name for himself.
Nick Marsh is open downfield.
In the second game of his college career, Marsh had 8 catches for 194 receiving yards and 1 touchdown in a win at Maryland. The 194 receiving yards were the second most ever for a Spartan freshman wide receiver.
He is one of the coolest, humble kids, hard workers that you'll meet. Like I said, he's coming off this huge game. You would think he only caught 1 pass. He's sitting in the front row. He's stayed after taking extra notes. He's just being Nick Marsh. His mom did a tremendous job with him.
By season's end, Marsh set the true freshman record at Michigan State for receiving yards in a single season.
I didn't expect to, touch the field. As a freshman, you got a lot of older guys in front of you, and it's just a tradition of how they do things here. And I wasn't expecting to play as much, and I put my all into it during the off season and was able to have the opportunity to touch the field. So that's a blessing.
Due to the success he saw as a freshman and players being able to earn money off their name, image, and likeness, other programs reached out to Marsh about leaving Michigan State for more money. With his mother's guidance, Nick chose to remain a Spartan and continue a legacy in East Lansing with a staff that believed in him from day one.
We come from not having much, right? And so that's something I've always instilled in them, those values, those morals. It doesn't matter what heights you make it to, never forget who you are, where you come from.
I'm out here doing this for you, Ma. I love you. I'm out here doing this for you. I'm able to do more things that I wasn't able to before, but I stay humble, stay to the grind, because it can easily deter how you think. And my mom keeps that in the back of my head as well. She's always on my butt. But it's a blessing and a big opportunity. I just want to do the right things with it.